Have you ever heard about the term land banking? Have you been told that you should not dive into real estate because of all the Omonile land saga? Today, we'll be talking about making money from real estate. My name is Razak Adekoya, and it's the Money Mindset with Razak. Guess what? I've got a guest in the house. This time, I've got a big fish. I have with me in the studio Mr. Igudalu, the MD of Bamboo Groups.
Thank
How are
you
you,
very
sir?
much. Thank you. I'm very well. And you?
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
It's quite not easy to get you, but I'm happy I have you in the studio.
Thank you.
And today we want to really talk about real estate, making money from real estate. Let's start. What are those misconceptions people have got about real estate and why people are really scared from investing in real estate?
First of all, thank you for having me, Mr. Razak. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. About real estate, there are lots and lots of misconceptions people have about real estate. Because of the whole, talks about how real estate can actually make you rich, make you wealthy. People jump into real estate blindly. People think that when you get into real estate, the moment you just talked about land banking, that the moment you buy land, in the next minute, you are smiling to the bank. So because of that, people most of the time get into real estate, get into the wrong hands, and then get burnt and don't get to see the results. But real estate is not something that you jump in and jump out. Real estate, before you get into real estate, you must have a long-term mindset. You must understand that real estate is long-term. For you to really benefit from real estate, you have to think long-term. And more importantly, you have to do your due diligence. Not everybody, just the same way they say not everybody that talks about God will go into heaven. Right? So it's not everybody that tells you about real estate you believe. And then because of the scarcity of real estate, the scarcity of land, like they say, God is not making any more of it. It's the only thing that God is not making more of, right? And because of that, it's not increasing. Humans are increasing, but land is not increasing, right?
True.
People are giving birth every day, but the land is on the same land, right? So because of that, we get to see a lot of people who are not a lot of scams, a lot of people who are not genuine in the industry. And so you see a lot of people, after maybe one or two tries, and they get their hands burnt, or they don't get back the interest that they hope to have gotten, or the big or the mighty interest that they hope to have gotten. They don't get it, and then they begin to cast aspersion on the whole real estate industry and say real estate is a scam and all of that, but it isn't.
Okay, let's start. I am watching right now. For that person who is just watching us right now, who want to start real estate and who want to use real estate as a tool. You said something. The first thing is you must have the mindset that it's a long-term investment.
Sure.
And not for short-term.
Yes.
But what do I need to do in terms of due diligence? What are those 1, 2, 3, 4 steps everybody who wants to buy that land needs to think of in terms of due diligence?
Interesting. It's a very interesting question. A few years ago, I was just doing real estate in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State. If you had asked me this question, I would have answered just in one way. But over time, I have seen myself, the company has expanded into Lagos, has expanded into Abuja, and expanded into the east and even outside of the country. We have interest in Kenya, we have interest in Rwanda. Now, of course, knowing that I'm talking to a global audience, so I won't just be talking from one side, right? Now, to answer your question, I'll just share an experience.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so like I said, a few years ago, we're just in Port Harcourt. We just had a location in Port Harcourt. Of course, that's where we started. And I had understood coming from a real estate background, knowing that I came from a family that is heavily invested in real estate in Port Harcourt. And with all of that, I had so much knowledge about the Port Harcourt real estate. And so, when I decided to expand, or when we decided to expand beyond real estate and decided to expand into Lagos and Abuja, first time I came to Abuja, I was met with a shocker. Because in Port Harcourt, if you ask me this question, I would say this is how you go about it. You go see the land that you want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
You go look for the families.
Mm-hmm.
You go ask questions. You go to the communities where these lands are situated.
Mm-hmm.
You ask questions. Mr. Razak came and told me that he has this portion of land in this place. Please.
Yeah, those are the approach.
Yes, this is the family that said they sold it to him. Please, did you guys sell it to that man? So then they will say, hey, we know him. Some other people, in other cases, maybe scammers, they will say, we don't know him. And then, of course, that's your first point of call, right?
Sure.
And then you now take whatever documentations you are given. You go to,
Government.
It depends on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the area where you are in Port Harcourt, either to the Ministry of Lands or to the Greater Port Harcourt Agency. And then, that's part of how you actually do your due diligence, right?
Yeah.
And then coming to Abuja, I realized that it is a complete different conversation. Completely different.
How?
Now, when I came to Abuja, I realized that no families, no indigenes, no communities will sell lands for you. Lands in Abuja are completely based on allocation by the federal government through the FCT minister, through the FCDA. Of course, when I first came into Abuja, I started looking for families and communities to buy lands from. But I was met with a shocker to realize that it doesn't work the same way in Abuja. So how does it work in Abuja? You would actually have to, if you are going to buy land, so there are two ways to get land in Abuja, either through direct allocation or through buying from someone who have an allocation. Right? Now, you are either buying, if you are going to buy from someone who have an already allocation, of course, which is the easiest way to get land in Abuja.
It's like estates.
Yes. So what you do is you actually have to request for the allocation papers to show that these papers were actually allocated to this person who is wanting to sell these lands for you, right?
Before you then go and verify.
Then you now take the document and go to the agency called Aegis, right? There are other agencies there, but Aegis is the main place where you actually go to do your land verification. You go there and show them and say, see, Mr. Razak said he owns this land, well, please, can you help me chat it? It's what they call chatting, right? And you go chat the land. And they look at it and tell you, okay, he's actually telling you the truth, or he's not telling you the truth, right? And then it is based on that. You will not need to find out what that land is used for. In Port Harcourt, nobody really cares so much about what the land is used for. But in Abuja, it is a main issue. You have to check if the land is residential, you have to check if it's commercial, you have to check if it's industrial, or you have to check if it is mixed use. Right? So, coming to Abuja, before you invest in real estate in Abuja, you have to educate yourself. You have to really educate yourself. So that's one of the things that people come into Abuja and they don't realize. And they just dive in. And Abuja is such an industry that, the real estate industry in Abuja is such a thing that if you dive in, you will dive out. In fact, you will break your head. You will be dealt with severely.
So for that young man or young woman or that person who is watching us now who wants to buy land in Abuja, right?
Yes.
What if it is an estate land? How can the person, what form of due diligence should
So you have to request for their allocation papers. Sometimes it is not, the allocation papers is not on the name of the estate you are buying from. So you have to check the allocation papers it will have the name of the original person who was allocated, right? And then you also now have to ask for the transfer, the deed of transfer between the original
who owns the allocation
and the estate company, right? So you have to, it has to be traceable. It is with those documents now you can actually take the allocation document to go and do your verification. And then when you do that, you also now have to ask for one more thing, because an estate company, you have to ask for their development approvals. That comes from the development control in Abuja, right? You have to ask for the development control approval. Now take that development control approval, go to development control office, and also do your check-ins and your findings.
But is there no simplest way to go about this? Because I'm sure somebody who is watching like, do I have the energy to do all this verification?
Mr. Razak, don't forget that we're in Nigeria. There's still a lot of things that have not been digitalized yet. And I think this is also something for the techies, right? These are, of course, for every problem, there's a solution, right? I think this is also an opportunity for techies to actually disrupt that very space.
I thought there's a bit of digitization, for example,
You would have
Lagos.
In Lagos, even in Lagos, you will still have to go to Alausa. You will still have to go to the agencies, to the offices
to verify.
Of course, they have their digital systems, right? It's not as if when you go there, they have to bring out files and all of that. It's actually digitalized, but that platform is actually controlled internally.
Not open source.
It's not open source at all. It's not something you can sit back at home and just be able to do in the comfort of your home and your laptop or your mobile device.
Let's come back.
Yes.
What is land banking for people who want to feel like, at least now I'm earning some good money. I want to start. How can land banking be a tool for people to start making money?
Beautiful. Land banking, just as the name sounds, is like banking. It's like savings. It's like, of course, we all understand what savings is, right?
Yes.
Putting your money in the bank and say, oh, bank, I have this amount of money for 1 million naira. I want to save it. I want to put it in my savings account for 3 years, for example. And maybe the interest on that savings would be, let's say, 10%, right? So in 3 years, you'll be looking at getting 30% from your 1 million, right?
Yes.
Now, it is same thing that you now do with land.
Tell us.
Now, you look for undeveloped areas where development haven't reached yet, right? You go there, do the same thing that we've talked about in how to do your due diligence, right? You do all your due diligence and then you buy those lands. But more importantly, you secure those lands so that you don't have an experience where you go back in a few years from then.
I'll come back to that.
Yes, in a few years from then, and then you realize that your lands have been sold or it has been taken over by someone else. So you buy those lands while you wait. There's a saying in real estate, we usually use it a lot in bamboo real estate. We say, don't wait to buy land. Buy land and wait. So the idea is that as development begins to come towards that area, the value of your land begins to appreciate. You get? So you buy a land in an undeveloped area, for example, and then you leave it for 5 years. In the first 1 year, a car manufacturing company decides to buy land around the vicinity. Government decides to open a new road and construct the roads in that vicinity. A school comes into that vicinity. All of these are beginning to increase the value of your land. So for the land that you bought for 1 million and you bought 10 plots for 10 million 5 years ago, today that land is sold for 50 million per plot. I have witnessed it a lot of times.
Are you sure?
Yes, I have seen lands that you bought for less than 1 million, and in less than 4 years the land is sold for over 50 million.
Okay. I'm sure people will be asking, where are those lands, right?
Yes.
And people will be asking, what do I need to do to tap into this? So, guys, you really want to know about that? My best bet for you is wait till next week when I'll be releasing the second episode of this conversation. But I would like to hear your view, your thoughts, drop your comments, and hit on the share button. Subscribe as well. It's the Money Mindset, and the conversation is about land banking and real estate. I'll catch up with you next week. Hello, Your Excellency.